Alright. Testing. Mic check. 1 2 1 2. Testing. Is it good now? Are you picking up audio now? Am I live? Wait, is my mic working? Voice. Okay. Oh, thank God. What the hell happened? Oh, Jesus. Oh no. Testing. Okay, yeah, okay. That's so embarrassing. That's so embarrassing. I'm sorry about that. Holy moly, I'm bad. Okay, so with that in mind, I did actually get the stream bot working. So apparently I can see what I'm doing now. Okay, yeah, sweet. So I got my stream bot working. I can see the chat for once. This new chat system I was trying wasn't working, but it works now. Yeah. I managed to find some of the tea that Dorothy was so fond of. Would you like to have a sip? Yeah. If you don't recall, in Red Ash, Scarlet and Dorothy, they were at each other's throats. They did not like each other. But at some point, Dorothy finds her quiet little spot among the flower bed, and Scarlet happens to be there too. And at first, Dorothy is beside herself. It's like, oh, this bitch again. She's invading my nice place. But then it turns out that Scarlet had brought along some goldenrod tea. And as it turns out, Dorothy was really fond of that tea. So when Red Shoes comes to Cinderella for the first time to have that cup of tea with her before everything kicks off in the event, the tea she brought, I concluded was goldenrod tea. I'll be honest, I'm not very well versed in tea. I'm not sure if this is a particularly good tea or a bad tea. Dorothy seems to like it. I just don't drink enough tea to know if this is any good. It's not unpleasant to me. But it did inspire some cocktail ideas, which we'll work on later. But first things first, I really just want to talk about old tales. And in fact, as Chibadi pointed out earlier, are we supposed to be seeing your cam if you're playing a game? Well, I did want to start with this because I wanted to lead off with that whole tea statement. Would you like some tea? This is Dorothy's favorite tea. And it's a bittersweet story. It's so good. It really was such a good story. And so I just desperately needed to talk about it. And I have a very strong theory, but first things first, yes, we will be playing some Nikke alongside while I talk about it. So let's just do that. Let me get it started. One other piece of housekeeping before we really get going with the stream. Thank you so much, Chibadi, for the $2 that you donated last stream. I'm sorry I didn't see your messages. You sent them from my Twitch Stream Elements link, which I'm not sure why I have two to begin with. I probably should just have one universal one. I did fix, at least I hope I did. I fixed my link for my YouTube stream. So hopefully my YouTube streams, you can tip to that and I'll actually see it this time. And sorry you got shadow banned. I was wondering where you went, but I figured like you had computer issues, so I didn't want to press the issue. But apparently, if you were shadow banned and couldn't chat, I'm sorry to hear that. And thank you for sticking around in that case. That sentence just invoked dread in me. How could you do this to me? That was the point. That was the point. I've been digging my way through the campaign after a long absence because I need the gems because I'm so many pulls in and didn't have Cinderella. You just checked the stream elements links and it works? Nice, nice. Okay, that's good. How loud is the game, by the way? It's quite loud for me, so I'm gonna turn it down a tad, but how loud is the game for you guys? Yeah, I started digging through the campaign not because I needed it, because I actually already pulled Cinderella. I pulled her with a free pull, in fact. I got very lucky. But also, I really wanted to, what am I trying to say here? I just really wanted to encounter Cinderella in the main story now because I loved her so much in Old Tales. So now I really want to. It's kind of hard to hear over the BGM. Oh yeah, the moment we go into the gaming section, hopefully we can see it. Can you see it fine? There should be no more BGM, right? Oh god, it's so loud for me. I don't know how loud it is for you guys, but it's so loud for me. You just move some stuff over. Okay. Or maybe I should do it the other way. Ah, gosh dang it. Okay. Okay, that should work. That should work. Let me just... I'm trying to figure out a way to, like... There we go. Okay, I figured it out. Watch Bonnie Barstow play through part of the Cinderella event. I don't know where you are in it, but I won't spoil. Also, Red Shoes is hot. Red Shoes is quite attractive. There's so much that intrigues me about Red Shoes as a character that I'll get to, especially as I make her drink. Man, so where do I start here? So the place I want to start is, god, the music for one is fantastic, and so I guess I might as well get straight to the point. And I think that Old Tales was an absolutely wonderful example of was a wonderful is absolutely the wrong word. Was a very striking comparison to actual depression. Now, it is very obvious that Cinderella suffers from an immense amount of depression during the story. I mean, you can see it in her eyes here. She has such a sad vibe to her, and oh, sorry. Sorry about that, Cinderella. She's obviously suffering from depression for like everything that's happening, but I think it goes deeper than that. I think it goes so much further in the sense that it's everything about what happens in the Old Tales. In fact, we should probably, maybe it's easier to explain going into there, which is gonna be tough for me given that when you finish the story, it becomes this colorless void that is just heart-wrenching. It's so, oh my god, I didn't see this version of it. Oh, maybe this is just the first time I logged in on the PC, but yeah, it's just so bittersweet hearing it like this and with the music box. So this whole mirror world, or to go on this whole theory that's the entirety of Old Tales is symbolic of what it feels like to be depressed. There's it's it's a difficult thing because so I have a few examples. Oh, in the story itself, Cinderella is trapped in a mirror. She feels like it's an out of body experience, in something that we're told in uh the crown event. I forget what the crown event is named. Let's get to that. Red shoes is hot. Red shoes is attractive in design and very, very deep and twisted in character. Yeah, yeah. I think that I honestly do think like when a character is like fundamentally attractive, she's also like that also like adds to like the femme fatale nature of it, because it's sort of like you feel like they should be trustworthy. You should feel like they are supposed to be a good person, and then when they betray you the way they do, I I'm kind of cagey about spoilers, but like I'm gonna be talking about a lot of spoilers today, so we might as well lean into it. Just know that there are going to be lots of spoilers. She she's got nice hair and a big pair of garbage bags of silicone stuck to her torso, and I'm all here for it. So am I. So am I. Nice lobby background. Haven't found a purchasable lobby. I was kind of depressed that they don't have the summer lobby, a proper summer lobby, but it's sort of like I did find that the what was it called, this the one for Sakura. What was the name of her clan again? But hers is pretty good, so I decided to go with that for her. Given that I already pulled Cinderella, I felt fine about doing that. Oh, Last Kingdom. Yeah, somewhere in Last Kingdom we know about... Somewhere in Last Kingdom we learn about what I'm talking about. This out-of-body experience I mentioned. This tea really is growing on me. It's a really nice tea. It's extremely bittersweet and stuff when it gets like this. Yeah, the music box theme just kills me emotionally. I cannot stay in the fucking lobby for the event now, just because it hurts my heart too much. Let's see if we can find it. There's gonna be spoilers for all sorts of things. There's going to be probably spoilers for Red Ash that we're going to go through. There's going to be spoilers for... there's going to be spoilers, obviously, for the Old Tales. And there's like one spoiler in here that I want to find. It's the thing that Chatterbox mentions, because Chatterbox says out loud that's like being corrupted is an out-of-body experience. I gotta be into Overzone, but haven't really gotten back into it because it hasn't hooked me yet. It's less that it has like big dramatic swings. It's less that it has big dramatic swings, which it does, and more that it's it's more that just like it's a constant like struggle of depression and just like everything that goes on. I probably should have organized my thoughts way better. I probably should have written this down. But I really wanted to find evidence because it is such a heavy topic about depression. I didn't want to like half-ass it. I did want to actually find... I legit want to like research the symptoms of depression and stuff like that. But at the very least, I want to find examples within the story. Okay, it wasn't in there. Hmm, where will it be? Shaky heart, maybe? Boy, I still very much dislike Kilo. If I can't find it, I'll just get on with it. I thought I would be able to find it relatively quickly, but I just forget when exactly in the story Chatterbox says this. Maybe this is it. I heard that after speaking to Chatterbox, he told me that I shouldn't be here and bade me to remember where I came from, something along those lines.
Mario. Kimi. Mario.
Don't come any closer. I don't want to do this, but I have to. Okay? Oh yeah, I think basically Marion is basically suffering from the similar sort of mental thing that Cinderella was going through post corruption. I see you, Chibidi, but I'm just trying to get my chat thing working right. Is the event transcribed on the Nikke wiki? Could you find it that way with a keyword? Maybe. So something that Chatterbox says is he outright says that it's being corrupted. This isn't the exact words. This is like roughly what he's saying. It's like being corrupted doesn't mean you lose your mind. Right? You still see everything clearly or something like that. Oh, okay, no, now I remember. She says it's a chime. Okay, she says it's a chime before executing her. Okay. Oh, here we go. It really is such a huge reason why this event was such a disappointment. She puts on airs about how cool and badass and how she could kill everyone in a blink of an eye, and then she was so pathetic this event. It was actually quite funny. Okay, it's gotta be the next one.
古城のあらあら首を狙ったつもりなあもう一度古城の私はどうかティ
言葉と表情がどうせ答え
バレていますそうです知りたければそれをあなたがでも
人間あの古城なぜに
お前の歯を磨く
マリアン答える人間神速
Okay, here we go. Okay. Do you know what this is? It's a device to induce corruption. I feel like I've seen something like Chatterbox before in like another series or like legit in Nikke. It was shocking to see him in Nikke too because he was supposed to be dead.
これを埋め込まれれば
One prick from this and you'll answer to the raptures entirely.
秘密を一つ教えてやろう神職は
Would you like to know a
脳を
secret?
破壊するものとして知られている
Let's see if I can do a monstrous voice. I probably can't, but it's fun to try to voice act, even though I'm bad at it. Would you like to know a secret? You probably thought that once corruption occurs, your mind will be destroyed.
実際には意識は
But that's not
はっきり
true.
している
In reality, your consciousness remains intact. That is a very important line. So we see that actually occur within Cinderella. We see that occur in Cinderella. We get the feeling that that's what occurs with Marion the first time in the tutorial. Remember in the tutorial when she was corrupted? When she was corrupted, she was probably under orders from the Raptures to lead them to their deaths, basically lead you, Rappy, and Anis to their deaths. But because you managed to fight off the Rapture in time, I forget the name of the Rapture, but the huge one that was going to kill you. Like, all that time, Marion was in her state of mind, was just as like trapped the way Cinderella was. And that's why you get some of these moments of clarity, I think. That's why, like, Cinderella was probably holding back when she was fighting off Goddess and quote-unquote got killed by Goddess in Red Ash. When Cinderella, once again, going back to the tutorial, when Marion had that moment of clarity where she grabs your gun and then points it at her own head so that you can kill her and stop the corruption and save her from her suffering. When Laplace and well, this is gonna be a spoiler for later on. Sorry for that. Later on in the main story, Machis gets corrupted, and when they get corrupted, they almost they have a moment of clarity too, and Laplace ponders killing herself as well to prevent wrongdoing from happening. It wasn't a depression thing; she just thought it was the best option to like make sure or to save more lives. So, we see that with Cinderella. She's pounding against the mirror. She is pounding against the glass as Anikido, or her heretic name, just goes on a rampage, slaughtering so many humans and massacring all the Nikkes. And she's just forced to watch. And that's, I think that's like the first sign of depression. So like when you're corrupted, it, as Chatterbox says, as your consciousness remains intact, you're seeing yourself do all these things. You have no control over it. And so I think that was there is a sort of with depression. That's where the metaphor of the mirror world comes from. It's like she's trapped in the mirror watching herself do all these horrible things, and then she's doing all these horrible things involuntarily, the way like a depressed person might lash out, the way someone might it's like say things they don't mean, or like legit lash out and like maybe get violent with people, stuff like that. And then of course that leads to all the guilt she experiences, because obviously she killed so many people, she murdered so many Nikkes, that she ends up in this negative feedback loop of like I deserve this. When she's being experimented on, tortured, she's like, I deserve this. I need to do this so that I can contribute to I need to do this so that I can contribute to atoning for my sins in whatever way possible. Like, yeah, so she's just atoning for, or she thinks it's a way to atone for her sins. She believes that like her life is no longer worth living, but if she's living for the sake of these experiments, that's the right way to go about it. And then just even more of the negative feedback loop of like, okay, even though she has people who helps her, she just doesn't believe that things can be right anymore. And then so when she learns of Red Shoe's betrayal, when she notices that her friends are still scared of her, and then of course when she murders Red Shoes in cold blood, and then they're all terrified of her, she's when they murder, or when she murders Red Shoes in cold blood, and then sees that her former friends are just terrified of her. Oh yeah, isn't this the part where Chime just gets beheaded? Yeah, that was the part. I thought it was about Marion, but it was towards Chime instead. She just goes out into the mountains and Cinderella wakes up from her sleep, stares blankly out into space. At the point where the horizon meets the cloudless sky, as tears fall down her face, the sun sets. She falls back to sleep. Cinderella weeps. Cinderella wakes up from her sleep and stares blankly out of the window into space. At the point where the horizon meets the cloudless sky, as tears fall down her face, the sun sets. She falls back to sleep. Cinderella weeps. Cinderella wakes up from her sleep, and suddenly she realizes what she must do. I think the language is important here, and then like everything that's about to occur, like this the scene after this is what made me realize that this was all a metaphor, because as like I think there's another comparison to a different game entirely that I wanted to talk about as well.
私はもう美しいフェアリーテールじゃない人類を裏切った化け物、そういう物語になってしまった。私は失敗作になってしまった書き損じたおとぎ話ならそれにすることは。
Is the stream super delayed, T? Or Chibity? Or are you perhaps a little behind, T? Maybe I'm talking like 3 minutes into the future, and suddenly like, okay, none of the conversation is actually happening at the time that it is.
ガラスの靴、フルコンタクト。
The panels, which only moments ago were emitting in a barrage of light beams, was designed to be aimed at the scourge of mankind, turned to Cinderella. Cinderella closes her eyes. In her mind, the image which arises is not the goddess squad she longed to be a part of, not the Nikkes who suffered and perished and suffered by their hands. Not the researcher who turned the gun on himself right before her eyes, nor Red Shoes, who she killed in a murderous rage. It was the one who appeared out of nowhere during her agony. Cinderella thought she was hearing voices. With trepidation, she opens her eyes. Abe is standing before her. Oh, I didn't know we were past Red Shoes' death. I finished the story. You don't have to worry about spoilers. I'm gonna talk about all the spoilers because there's so much I want to talk about like this theory I have about like this whole event being a metaphor. So, as you saw, Cinderella was that close to killing herself.
どうして私答えてなんと言っていただろいつか何もかも終わっ別の意味いくつだから私が言った覚えていないどうして来た連れだどこにここどこだ私は死ぬつもりかそうそれは私が許さない
Okay, yeah, I think this is the start of it. Wherever it is, I'm not going. I will stay here. And do what? Die? Yes. I can't allow that. It's not delayed at all, just slow it talking and other stuff. Okay, I just want to know. And Abe, my beloved, she's so good. Abe grew on me. I didn't think she was a particularly inspiring character, but then this particular conversation, like immediately, like I think this is the most powerful part of the event, and I'm not sure people talk about it enough. And that's why I felt the need to talk about this. I might legit like do a lot of research and like put my thoughts out there so that like even if I'm stupid and like some psychiatrist comes into my comments or DMs be like, you know, that's not how depression works actually, this and that, and it's like I would like to know that because it was like this part just felt so poignant to me. Like I really just needed to talk about this moment and how it refers back to everything else in the story. The things she does through the event just make me respect her to an extreme. Yeah. And this scene, I think, like encapsulates all of it. I don't need your permission. That's where you're wrong. I created you, so I get to say when you die.
何をするつもり
うまいものでも食べて話でもしよ
う Abe tugs at Cinderella, but she doesn't budge.
早く行くぞ
話して
話さない
話してって私は怪物なのもう美しくないのゴーテスの道を閉ざしてたくさんの人を殺して仲間だって何もかも台無しなのよ
I've never met any of these characters before I saw Bonnie play, but it was very powerful and had her stopping. I am so happy that this event happened because I do think this particular event might have single-handedly helped reshape people's opinion on Nikke. Like from the outside. Like everyone who plays Nikke already knew that like Nikke is a very powerfully sad and dramatic and generally well-written story, but all people see is like the fan service, the jiggle physics and the boobs and butts, because unfortunately like that's what that's what they market it on. And then so like people from the outside is always like, oh, we're playing the like I think of how like Dokibird got sponsored for the game, and I couldn't help but imagine like, oh, she on Twitter the way she was talking about the game is like, oh yeah, this silly jiggly butt game, and like talking about volume and then grabbing volume, and then like right at the fucking beginning of this event, you will see Cinderella in gory detail break Siren's jaw. Not just break it, pulverize it. Like make sure she crushes her jawbone into dust. as to as destroy Red Shoes' legs to the point of severing them, cuts off Hansel and Gretel's hands, and then like knocks out Abe. Like all that happens in bloody, gruesome, gory detail. And that's in the beginning. So if they're like, if it was a sponsored thing where they're just previewing it for like other people to play for themselves and not spoil too much, they still see that. And so it's like that's already like sending a fucking message. And then the rest of the event being so sad, so dramatic, so like emotional. And like all these VTubers talking about it now, about like, holy shit, this game is actually like ridiculously good. Like it made people realize, oh wait, I should actually give this a chance and not just write it off as the jiggly butt game. Oh, for past Red Shoes death, I can say this. This entire section had me flabbergasted and shocked. By far the most visceral Jesus Christ moment I ever experienced in a game. Yeah, like the voice actress in Japanese, I'm not a huge fan of the English voice acting. It has its place, and I've heard it's improved over time, but just like I think a year ago it was not very good in my opinion, and therefore like I wasn't that interested in it. But then the Japanese, especially for Cinderella, was amazing. Her shoes walking away on her own comes from the original Red Shoes fairy tale. I did wonder about that because we're getting on tangent upon tangent even though we're on the most important scene. The visceral gory detail of Cinderella, absolutely that's main Siren's jaw, and then everything else. Yeah, that was intense. That was super intense. So yeah, the original Red Shoes tale, I actually don't know what it was. And that's why I was so like, that's why I've been like hesitant to say, like my biggest critique on this event is that they foreshadowed Red Shoes' betrayal way too hard. They foreshadowed it way too hard to the point that was obvious. Like it wasn't a matter of oh, what's going on with Red Shoes? What's going to happen? It was more like, when are they going to reveal? Like, when are they going to say it out loud? Because it was like way too obvious. But I figured there must be a reason you were supposed to suspect Red Shoes from the beginning just from knowing fairy tales. Like if it was like, oh, if you knew the fairy tale about Red Shoes, you would already know that she was a bad person, then I would be okay with like the super heavy hinting. If it wasn't, then I'm a little bit like iffy about why they did that so hard, why they foreshadowed so hard. But that's cool. That's a cool allegory. I didn't realize that was another connection. Jeez, anyways, where was I? Yeah, so this particular scene. Yeah, okay. Forget about me. I wonder if, hold on. Let me try. Let me get into. Wait, no. Where's the teary eyes? There we go. Forget about me. I said forget about me. Become a monster. I'm no longer beautiful. I stood in the goddess's way. I killed many humans and my own comrade. I've ruined everything. There's no reason for me to live. Oops. There we go.
お前には生きてもらわないと困る。どうして？私が人類史上最高。お前は私が作った私の最高傑作だから。この灰をかぶったままで終わらせるわけに、そうでなくては私がガラクタを作っただけの技術者になってしまう。だから お前がここで終わっては困る。終わるなら一番美しい時にしろ。
私はもう汚れているのよ。
In the original story, the red shoes made a girl dance uncontrollably and kept dancing even after or they kept off her feet, which actually really makes sense with Cinderella, whose story also involves shoes. In the original story, the red shoes made a girl dance uncontrollably and kept dancing after they cut off her feet. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, and then that's a really strong allegory to what happens, because like her legs literally get severed. Well, she dies, and then but her legs continue kicking and like trying to fight off Cinderella until she cuts them off. And then of course like the Raptures use her legs as a weapon. And then yeah, as you say, Cinderella with the glass slippers type thing. Okay, so that's what the story is about. Okay.
美しくないわ。私の物語は怪我されてしまったの。ハッピーエンドにはならないわ。
There's no happy ending for me
美
anymore.
しくない童話なんてない方がいいの。
A fairy tale which is no longer beautiful should be erased.
私は
I,
ずっとお前を見ていた。
I've always been
一
watching.
瞬でも見逃さないよう
I
に
didn't
ずっ
want
と
to
見
watch.
ていた。
I didn't want to miss a
理
single
想のため
moment.
に努力す
Your
る姿、
perseverance towards achieving your goals.
諦めない
Your
姿、
refusal to give
お
up.
前の考え
Your
方、
way of thinking.
未来も
The future.
夢も
Your dreams.
全部見守ってい
I
た。
watched it all.
信じられないこ
I
とだと思
couldn't
った。
believe it.
お前のような最
I
高
couldn't
傑作
believe I could create such a
私の手で生み
masterpiece
出
such
せ
as
たこと、
yourself.
文字通り
I couldn't take my
夢
eyes
中だ
off
っ
you.
た。とても美しかった。
You were so beautiful.
私はいつでも
You
お
always
前
had a
の観
captive
客だった。
audience in me.
お前はゴッテス
Your
の舞台
attention
に
was
夢中
focused
にな
on
っ
the
た観
goddess
客で
world. You
ゴッ
wanted
テ
to
ス
be
に
a
なり
part
た
of
がってい
that.
たが、正直
To be honest, I
私は
wasn't
ゴッテス
terribly
にそ
interested
れほど
in
きょ
you
お前の方が
because
美
you were
しい
more
からだ。
beautiful.
すぐ隣に眩しく輝く宝石があるなら遠くにあるものに惹かれるはずもない。お前こそ私が作った何より美しいもので、私の勝利の女神だ。
勝利の女神。
だからここで終わらせたりはしない。私の勝利の女神は誰よりも輝いて何よりも美しくなければなら。書き直そう。台無しにされたおとぎ話を。お前はまだ生きている。終わってはいない。それなら好きなだけ書き直せる。
This scene reminds me so much of that scene in Blue Archive where Sensei was a similar thing, right? Like Mika was talking about like I was given a second chance and I blew it. There's no more chances for me anymore. I'm just a witch. And it's like, you're not a witch, Mika. I'll give you infinite chances. And that was the lesson then. It's like you have infinite chances. As long as you're alive, you have infinite chances to rewrite your story. As Abe is telling Cinderella in her darkest moment, and we can rewrite your story. As long as you're still alive, we can rewrite your story and you can become beautiful again. You could also see it as a metaphor for Red Shoes, who's the character manipulating Cinderella. Yeah. So if that's the way it worked, which was like the Red Shoes like corrupted a woman, like yeah, it would make a lot of sense that the character Red Shoes is the one who like caused all this harm to Cinderella. Especially as you say, like there is the allegory there of the glass slippers, the red shoes. It's a very similar theme.
まだ第1幕が終わっただけだ。エンディングは遠い。逆転に逆転を重ねてハッピーエンドにするんだ。
私はもう たくさんの人を殺しているのよ。
So here's the thing, she's still trapped in her negative feedback loop. Let's review only everything that's a Cinderella has said so far. Forget about me. I said forget about me. I've become a monster. I'm no longer beautiful. I stood in the goddess's way. I killed many humans and my own comrade. I ruined everything. There's no reason for me to live. Abe goes on her whole spiel. I already have too much blood on my hands. I'm not beautiful anymore. My story has been tainted. There's no happy ending for me anymore. A fairy tale which is no longer beautiful should be erased. A goddess of victory? But I've already killed so many people.
お前のしたことではない。
ゴッデスの前に立ちふさがった。
I stood in the way of the goddess
お
squad.
前の意志ではないだろう。
人類の敵になったのよ。
I became the enemy of the entire
お
human
前のせい
race.
じゃない。
レッドシューズもこの手で。
それだけの理由があったのだろう。
I even killed the red shoes in cold blood. That was the line, right? I even killed red shoes with my own hands.
私はお前を信じている。何があっても変わらない。他には何も見えないからな。見ろ。死んでる。
Okay, so here it comes. I thought we would get to this part sooner. Abe and Cinderella look at the glass slippers, and I do think it's important. That's why I reread everything. Like, everything Cinderella has been saying about herself so far is still negative. She's still in that negative feedback loop, and this is when, and I realize this scene coming up is when I realize, oh, this entire story, like going back to when Cinderella was corrupted in the first place, is when she first got corrupted and got trapped in the mirror the first time, is that this is a story that is a one-for-one metaphor. Well, not one for one, but like a metaphor for what it feels like to be depressed. The reflection is stained with blood.
何が見える？
What do you see?
血まみれの怪物。
A monster covered in blood.
そんなもの。
Don't be a fool.
吹けばいいだけだ。
That can be wiped away.
何を浴びようと。
No matter what it's covered in, that doesn't change what's underneath.
ほら、
Look, it's all
綺麗に
clean.
なっただろう。自分自身が揺らいでいる時に自分が何か決めようとするな。お前の姿をありのままに見せるものを見ろ。今は何が見える？
What do you see
イ
now?
ブの目には何が見えているの？
When you look at me, what do you see,
眩
Abe?
しくて
I can't see anything. I'm
何も
too
見えないな。
starstruck. She's not answering because she needs Cinderella to say it herself.
何が見える？
What do you see?
私、
お前は誰だ？
What do you see? Me. Who are you?
シンデレラ。
Cinderella?
シンデレラはどういうやつだ？
What kind of person is Cinderella?
人類を裏切り、多くの人間を殺した。
So she's still stuck here. She's still stuck in her negative logic loop. Yeah, she's still stuck in her negative logic loop, and that was where I wanted to go with this.
何を言っている？
What do you mean? It's not Anakiro who is reflected here.
アナキオールではない。シンデレラだろう。
It's Cinderella.
もう一度聞く。
So I'll ask
シンデレラ
again.
は
What
どういう
kind
や
of
つだ？
person is Cinderella?
絶望のどん底でゴッデスに助けられて夢中になった人。
I won't corrupt the voice acting anymore, so I'll just let it play out and let you read it.
ゴッデスと同じ場所に立ちたくて適合者に志願した人。必死に努力して第二世代のフェアリーテールモデルに選ばれた人。 っていた人、何千何万回というテストにいつも真剣に取り組んでいた人、いつも一番いい結果を出すために努力していた人、決して夢を諦めなかった人、いつも堂々として自信にあふれていた人、仲間を愛し人類を愛していた人、自分自身を愛していた、この世で一番美しい人。
そのシンデレラがしたかったことは、
人類の敵を倒し人類を守ること、物語を書き直すこと。
そうだ。それをやれ。書き直そう。私はお前の隣という特等席でそれを見届ける。私がお前の鏡になってありのままの姿を見守っている。
分かったわ。私を見守ってくれる最高の観客さんのために。みんなに背を向けられてもまだ私を見てくれるあなたのために、私は物語の続きを書くわ。
疲れ果てて目がかすんだ時、いや鏡まで汚れてしまった時は、お前を見る私の目を見ろ。そこに世界で一番美しい勝利の女神がいるはずだ。
That to me is the most powerful scene in this. It's not Red Red Shoes betrayal. It's not Red Shoes murder. It's not it's like the big battle at the end and all that stuff. It is that scene. That scene is the most important because I think that highlights it's the like what like that truly highlights like what it feels like to be depressed. At least in my own experience, I've had like negative feedback loops. I've never had depression so bad that it made me want to like off myself, but I've had just like some of my lowest moments did involve thoughts. The way I kept pointing out with Cinderella, she never had a good thing to say about herself. She never had a good thing to say about herself. And this was actually something I learned from healthygamer.jg. He's that like he's that mental health guy who streams on Twitch, and he's like a licensed psychiatrist, and he knows a thing or two about psychology, so he actually understands how the mind works and stuff like that. And he talked about how depressed people are actually some of the most logical people in the world. The issue is that I would, maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, I'm not a psychiatrist. He is, and that's why like I would like feedback on my take. Is like I think it's less that they're logical and more that they're logic driven. Depressed people are the most logic driven people. They will justify their own self-destruction, whether that's like drinking heavily, like lashing out at people, eventually self-harming and whatnot. They will justify it through logic. They're like, I can't do anything right. I always distance myself from friends, and when people try to get close to me, I scream at them, even though I don't want to. So I should just isolate more, and I'm just a burden on people. I should just stay out of their way. I should maybe just quit my job. You know what? Like, do I even contribute anything to society at this point? Who would miss me when I'm gone? I should just end it. Stuff like that. Like they're using logic to try to justify, like, terrible things about themselves. And so that whole scene was as Abe trying to rewrite Cinderella's logic. Cinderella was going down. Can you see my mouse cursor? I'm not sure this helps if I'm like moving my mouse around to try to explain this. Can you see my mouse cursor on the screen? I'm like wiggling it around intentionally so that you know. Let me check my... Oh, I don't think you can. Shoot. Okay, whoopsie. Let's see if I can... Is there a way I can capture cursor? Oh yeah, mouse is moving. Okay. Maybe I just. Oh yeah, now I see it. Now I see it on my screen. I just didn't see it before because my chat was was blocking it. So as I mentioned, Cinderella only had negative things to say about herself. I killed so many people. I'm no longer beautiful. This fairy tale is tainted. I can't have a happy ending. If I can't have a happy ending, my story should be erased. And then everything Abe was saying was just trying to get her to say something nice. I'm starstruck. You're so beautiful. Let's rewrite the story, etc. And then so the moment she had the Cinderella look in the mirror of the glass slippers, or she intentionally didn't answer any of Cinderella. She didn't answer any of Cinderella's questions. Abe kept asking Cinderella, "Who do you see in the mirror?" And her first response was once again negative, a monster or covered in blood. And Abe said, "No, that's not what that is, you idiot. It's let me wipe off the blood and see. You see, there you are in your reflection. And who do you see in the mirror now? Cinderella. Who is Cinderella? Someone who betrayed humanity. No, that's not Anikito. Anikito is the one who betrayed humanity. Who is Cinderella?" And then so like Abe is forcing Cinderella to say something nice about herself, because like everything before, like everything Abe was trying to tell her just wasn't working. She had to make Cinderella like positively affirm herself. She had to help Cinderella break the negative spiral going down by herself. So she had to turn the negative feedback loop into like the stairway back up. And I thought that was the most powerful thing, because that's why I learned with Healthy Gamer is that like depressed people, like I said, are very logic driven. They will put themselves in a negative feedback loop of this bad thing led to this bad thing, which led to this bad thing, which led to these people hating me, which led to me hating myself, and which leads to me not to that's feeling like I contribute anything to the world, which leads to being okay with offing myself. Of like they will go down a long logic spiral in order to justify like doing terrible things to themselves. And it's not logical. It's logic, but it's not logical. So you need a way to break out of that spiral. And Abe forcing her to break out that spiral was so like, it's more powerful than you think, especially because like Cinderella did reach the lowest point, and she did try to end it. But then Abe came just in time and forced her to say a nice thing. No, you're not Anikito. No, you're not a monster covered in blood. No, you're not Anikito. I'm Cinderella. Someone who took so many tests to become a goddess, someone who worshipped the goddess, someone who wanted to be like the goddesses, someone who loved her friends, someone who loved humanity, someone who wants to protect humanity, someone whose mission is to stop the raptures, all these things, and to bring her back to like a mindset that has more possibilities, to be frank. There is the other thing, a similar sort of story that doesn't involve Nikke at all was in Persona 5. In fact, let me see if I can pull that up. Maybe that's worth doing. Let's see. Let me try pulling up something for... is it worth it just for a few seconds? Yeah, it probably is, because it really is, like, it really helps my point. YouTube.com Persona 5 and Confidant. Okay, here it is. Okay, let me just pull up the... okay. Oh gosh. Okay. Window capture. I tend to get more, isolated, quiet, unresponsive. I just occasionally end up getting into bouts of self-loathing and stuff. That's what I mean. When you're in a depressed spiral, like it can add up really quickly. It can, you end up in a feedback loop. You just, like, a negative thought leads to another negative thought, which leads to another negative thought, which leads to a negative action, which leads to more negative thoughts, etc. And then so you keep just spiraling down. And that's I think an underrated thing about that scene is like the fact that that's all that kept happening with Cinderella herself. Like, obviously all of these bad things happen to her. All these terrible things happen to her. But then, and like in that scene, it was all herself, just frankly trying to justify what she was about to do, as opposed to like any logical reason for, what was going to happen. So let me just oh wait, wrong one. Okay, so this scene is from Persona 5. Let me just... gosh, okay. Hopefully I have... Oh, here it is. Okay.
Hey!
We're so high up. It's dangerous up here. Stay away from the ledge. Why did you want to come here? Huh? Not with this fence here. I can just look out into the courtyard. To tell you the truth, I wanted to reenact that moment. Persona 5 spoilers. Way earlier in the story, Shiho attempted to kill herself by jumping off the roof. She jumped off the roof, destroyed her leg, so she didn't die, but it was like an extremely dramatic scene as she legit tried to kill herself. Tell you the truth, I wanted to reenact this moment. Wearing these clothes, standing here again, I wanted to know what it would feel like. What about back then? What were you thinking? I didn't want to die. I just needed to escape. It was like another person inside of me was screaming, telling me to come up here. It almost felt like that person was trying to kill me.
Oh.
But I know that person was part of me too, my weakness. So I wanted to see if she would show up again now. And she's gone, isn't she? Yeah, she doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, and that's so that I was thinking about that scene when I start. So after the scene I just showed you uh in Old Tales, that whole bit about like Cinderella and Abe looking in the mirror, I started thinking back to the earlier stuff, and then like I said, this whole environment of being, oh shit, wrong button. I didn't mean to put the home button. You'll have to give me a sec. Okay. There's a bit in all this of all things Mega Man Star Force. The lead kid has to learn to overcome depression and make friends again, which is a weird hook for a Mega Man game. That's dark. What the hell? I didn't think Mega Man gets that depressing. Whoa. I know there's character death, I guess, because wasn't there like a red Mega Man, I forget his name, who like there's an unbeatable boss. When you're about to die to that boss, the red Mega Man Zero, is his name Zero, it comes and saves you. And then you meet that unbeatable boss again. They're unbeatable again, but then Zero helps you again, but wounds himself in the process. And then like you finish off the boss, and then like Zero dies. It's surprisingly messed up. I guess. I guess I didn't realize that about Mega Man. Unless it's generally not like that, and that's just a couple of examples. But anyways, like, it's especially dramatic in earlier iterations of this. There's when you first start the event, and this place is blue to represent the fact that Cinderella is in her right mind. When she gets corrupted early on in the thing, the map changes to red, the whole thing. And then every time Cinderella talks, she's talking like a possessed person, like everything for the goddesses, everything for the queen. And like all these corrupted mantras that she's repeating to herself as she performs her duties as Anikiro, like killing all the humans, killing all the Nikkes and whatnot. And then when she gets freed from the corruption, but she's still depressed, she's everything. It's blue again, so she's in her right mind, but she's depressed, and it's like, I've destroyed everything. I don't deserve to live, and stuff like that. That's as you walk around when you click. And then once you finish the story, and this is why it's so painful for me, as you can see, like, anytime you move anywhere in any map, the character will talk to you. The character is not talking to me, and as you can see, she's like this white silhouette. And then like everything in the world is colorless right now. That's because she escaped the mirror. She's free. It's bittersweet. It's nice, but it's like, it's sad because it's so lonely in here now. And maybe that's another part of depression, which I did this backwards, but I might as well since I'm here. Like, there's always a part of you that even if you escape your demons, like some part of you never escapes the mirror. Like, that's kind of how I feel about like the family tragedy I had to endure recently. That's like, there's a part of me I'll never get back, and that's the part of me I feel is still stuck in the mirror. Yeah, it was Zero in that one. Okay, I got it right. She's the same color as the characters in the mirror shards. Yeah. So what was the point I was trying to make with the mirror? Oh yeah. So the mirror or world like kind of just represents that whole out of body experience with depression. Is just like oh suddenly she doesn't feel in control of herself. Like it's, I believe it was in this one. It's right at the end. So we're gonna skip through all this, but
お願い。私
クイーンを
さあ特地平
かが
もしごおせ大丈夫私記憶存分にもちろん
調整は完
I
了
wonder
し
if
た
there was a foreshadow in this, in some of her lines here. You're gonna do just fine. You're the most beautiful person I know. Oh. Don't allow yourself to be intimidated and show off that beauty of yours. Knowing what we know now, that is so sinister.
当然
当たり前起きろそろそろ
本当体が軽いわありがとう必ず期待に応えるわ
Cinderella steps forward as she opens the maintenance door. Okay, no. not this one.
先に早く来てヘンゼルとクレーだから行きましょうヘンゼルはまあそれも一度会っておきたい
おいお前たち
Something else I know is the Goddess of Victory statue starts out as just a block and it slowly gets more chiseled away as you play. That's insane. I didn't actually realize that. No, now that I think of it, it was just a block at first. And then, yeah, right now it happened so gradually that I didn't notice. But now that I'm thinking about it, like, yeah, it's chiseled into the Goddess of Victory statue. But I do remember distinctly at the beginning of the event that it was just a block. Holy shit, I didn't realize that. That's crazy.
ゴッデスの前だからといってむしろなんだ
サインをもらうそう
下手にで
ヘンゼルとこだから
もう
Oh, here we go. Okay, so the 5 second generation Grimm's models, along with the genius tactician who created them, walk down the hallway. Cinderella is overcame with emotion. For a moment, a heroic and mythical narrative flashes through her mind. Thinking that such notions are a bit grandiose even for her, she chuckles and shakes her head. What was that? She thought she heard something, but there didn't appear to be any sound. She does feel like she bumped into something, however, something preventing her from going forward. Cinderella lifts her head and looks in front of her. There's nothing blocking her way, but she is unable to go forward. Something invisible is blocking her
どうなっ
path.
てるの
Cinderella sees something strange. She hasn't moved, yet she can see herself walking down the hallway with the others. The surreal scene puts her at a loss for words. Her squad mates are laughing and talking, but in the center, she herself remains expressionless, gazing straightly ahead. Cinderella is unable to understand what's happening. Then she sees it. Beyond the invisible barrier, her eyes are turning red. There's an old anime song that has the line Goddess of Victory in it that always stood out to me. No idea if it's related. Do you happen to know what anime it's from? There's apparently a lot of inspiration from all sorts of places in Nikke, so maybe they did take that inspiration from somewhere, but I'm not sure. That feels like it doesn't matter, but it could. It would be very interesting. Red shoes took away Cinderella's beautiful blue eyes. Blue eyes are quite stunning. I do like blue eyes and green eyes quite a lot on characters. When a character has like really gorgeous like emerald eyes, oh, I always love that. There are not enough green-eyed anime characters. Holy shit, I almost dropped my teacup. Machine Robo Revenge of Kronos. It's from 1986. That's a classic. That's before I was even born. I'd have to look. I feel doubtful it at all has any relevance. You can find the song later. I'd be interested. Yeah. But I'm doubtful that it has any pertinence. But yeah, in short, there's maybe an above zero chance that chiseling the block in the statue in the lobby also represents something. It probably does. I'm not sure what it would represent, but it probably does. But yeah, so that was the moment that Cinderella gets trapped in the mirror, and that's basically when the depression begins. It's that sort of like you go through the motions, you feel like you're on the outside looking in, you feel like it's an out of body experience, and then like literally everything that happens, she betrays her friends, and so she starts hearing the voices in her head. Was it this one?
どうやっても壊せない。叩いても蹴ってもガラスの靴の全力でも声を上げてもすがりついて泣き叫んでも。
Yeah, I'm honestly like I feel this way myself. It's just like you have this internal monologue of yourself like trying to stop yourself, just trying like I should talk to people more kindly. I shouldn't lash out at people like this. You do all these things, but then you're just so like emotionally detached due to your depression, because as like being trapped in the mirror is like that metaphor for like that war going on in your mind compared to like what your actual actions are.
見えない壁は破れそうにな。あれは軌道エレベーターに向かった。そこでただじっとしラプチャーを攻撃。そんなのただのラプチャー。あ、エイブは私を裏切り、私を。
When does the voice come in?
返して、私のもの、その顔も全部私のものだ。返して、シンデレラは私を、あなたじゃない。返して。箱です。やめ。
ゴッデス部隊はそうだ、知っている。それを ICB そうだ、シンデレラ。起動エレベーターへの
If you
道を
haven't
塞ぐ
finished
ラ
Red
プチャーの
Ash
一
yet,
層
like you should know that because Cinderella interrupted that mission, that's why the war was lost.
ゴッデスの道を切り開くんだ。
私はそれを私道を閉ざし、あんなに並んで。
Oh, okay. I was wondering if this scene was there without Abe's hand on it. I wanted this one, not the other one. Okay. Next time I'm gonna come up with a thumbnail, I'll use this.
美しくない。
A pair of dreamless eyes that have lost all sense of purpose. She is no longer beautiful.
美しくない。これは誰？
Right. Who is this? Who am
あ
I?
なたは誰？
Who are you?
私は誰？
Who am I? I forgot about this part, but like this being a call, the mirror scene at the end with Abe being a callback to this is actually so even more powerful. Like I already thought that last scene was extremely powerful. That scene with Abe where she's telling Cinderella what she sees in the mirror. I forgot that this scene happened where she looks in the mirror and just can't answer the question of who she is.
鏡よ鏡、私は誰？鏡、私は鏡、私は。
There we go. I am curious who the voice actress might be for the mirror voice. Was that Red Shoes or was it someone else? I doubt it was Red Shoes. It doesn't sound anything like Red Shoes, but it probably isn't. But like again, more allegories. So we saw the Persona 5 thing about how Shiho said like it was a voice in their head that like felt like it was trying to kill her. It was a voice in Cinderella's head making her do all those awful things. And that's kind of what depression is like. It is that voice in your head that self-loathing you have is that voice in your head telling you you're not good enough. You're just gonna mess it up. They don't like you anyways. You'll never amount to anything. You shouldn't even try. All these that voice in your head is sort of like the voice in the mirror. Like once again, like being trapped in the mirror, it's like an out of body experience as you go through the motions and sometimes do things you don't want to do. The mirror voice, the voice in your head making you do all these things. And the fact that you do all those things go down on this guilt spiral, this negative feedback spiral, which leads to the justification of self-destruction, which leads to your self-destruction. And like I feel like all of that is represented in a literal form in the old tales. The mirror world is the out of body experience. The voice within the mirror is the negative voice in your head, telling things you don't want to hear, making you do things you don't want to do. You saying things you don't want to say and doing things you don't want to do creates a negative feedback loop. That negative feedback loop leads to the justification that all the terrible atrocities that Anakito did, it leads to that's the comparison is like all the war atrocities that Anakito did. The justification of self-destruction, Cinderella, after being uncorrupted, still allowing herself to be tortured and experimented on, and then the actual self-destruction, which is Cinderella trying to end her own life. Like all of that is represented in a literal way in this story, and I just think that's so poignant, that's so powerful, let alone everything else about like, okay, all the lore we get about raptures, about corruption, about the war itself, about like everything that helps explain and then give context to the main story, to Overzone, to Red Ash. It's amazing. It just, this story is so amazing, and that ink, and then just the color of the mirror world too. Just everything about this depression and the metaphor of depression. Not just that obviously Cinderella is depressed, but that she is experiencing her depression in a way that matches, is in a way that like is a figurative metaphor for how it really feels to be depressed, not just like what a sad person looks like, what a sad person feels like with all these metaphors. Like that's just amazing, and like it makes me want to look into it more, because like I want to know if like who knows, maybe I'm full of shit, maybe like I'm not maybe like there's something I'm missing about this, but it's just like really interesting to me from my own experiences with depression, with the way depressed people behave, from what I learned from Healthy Gamer, from the way we learn how corruption works in other events, from the way like suicidal depression is treated in other video games. Like it feels just so representative, and it's cool. It's cool in a bittersweet way that they're willing to tell this kind of story. Like, obviously it's tragic, it's heart-wrenching, it's hard to listen to. Like I mentioned, like, this whole thing is so bittersweet. This whole, like, sad music box in this colorless world is so hard to actually stay in. It hurts my heart to be here. But it's fascinating to me that they told this kind of story, that they didn't just tell you a story of depression. They created a world that is made that depression feels like. They let the readers experience what depression is like, not just tell them a depressing story. And I just think that's awesome. Did Red Shoes say it was her own voice during the reveal? She definitely said that she implanted her own personality into the corruption code, and generally the way it's implied that it works, given that when Cinderella is corrupt, she hears a voice that's telling her what to do and trying to convince her to do these terrible things. That Cinderella. Well, to use Cinderella as an example, like the corrupted Nikke's hear a voice, and if she's implanting her personality and she's implanting her orders, to me, logically thinking, that implies to me that it would be her voice. So that's why I think. I'm not 100% sure on that. As far as I know, the voice itself is coming directly from the Rapture Queen itself in Cinderella's mind during those scenes. I could see that too. Because she's under control of the Raptures, and I'm pretty sure the Raptures are a hive mind. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think the Raptures are a hive mind, and so that would make sense to me too. That's probably more logical, but given Red Shoes was so involved in the development of corruption, I think it might be her voice, but I'm not sure. It's also crazy that the mirror in the background is also broken. Yeah, just the mirror. Once the mirror breaks, just all these little details. As far as I know, it wasn't like that before. Yeah, I definitely noticed the broken mirrors. Just that's also nice symbolism. The Raptures are a hive mind adjacent and very close to one. Okay. Yeah. That's all I wanted to talk about. Was there anything other Nikke related stuff I wanted to go through? Yeah, that was my whole theory on the idea that Old Tales is an allegory for depression. Just like what it feels like to be depressed on a literal level. And what do you think about this theory? Do you think I'm making sense, or am I talking completely out of my ass? At least from what I can tell, they're very much like ants. Also, something I wanted to mention in the lobby before this one with Red Shoes' death. Let's go to her pedestal. If you looked at the little mirror fragment chart or it's over the challenge environment, you can see the scene of Red Shoes' corpse in it. So the challenge mode. That wouldn't be... Well, I guess I can click here. It was a super cool but also dark detail for me. That's... I mean... given this story, everything's a dark detail, but that's awesome if that's true. I didn't see it. I didn't really look at it enough, but that's crazy. Well, since I'm here, this is gonna be so hard to do on laptop. I was thinking about just going right back to the bar area so we can make Red Shoes' drink, but I'm not. But I figured I might as well do this. You wish you took a screenshot of it? I'm sure someone has, but it's just there's all these little things that are also so temporary because it's a map event. I literally cannot wait until they put this in recollection, because I feel like they should do it like immediately. Like they should just put this into recollection right away, because I'm sure there's tons of details that's like I'm sure there's tons of details that people were pointing out that people wanted to look at that might be very interesting. Oh, this is so hard on laptop. This is so hard on laptop. Okay. This fight looks a lot more different in widescreen. It's a lot better in widescreen. That being said, I don't play widescreen that often because I almost exclusively play Nikke on my phone. If I'm gonna play video games, it's like lesson learned, I need to buy a USB mouse at the very least so that I can like play some things with a little more. Because I was thinking, oh, so like probably these glass shards. Oh, that would have been cool to see. Oh, I missed out on that. I never looked at this, but I didn't realize it zoomed out like this. Oh, man. Oh, that would have been crazy if I got to see, like, important story moments like Red Shoes' corpse, as you mentioned. Dude. Okay. Anyways. Back to the bar. I knocked my camera a little bit. Come on. There we go. There we go. Yeah, hopefully you guys found that interesting. That, like I said, I just really needed to talk about that because I don't think anyone was ever, no one ever mentioned that on Twitter. I don't think anyone has discussed that particular scene that I was super interested in, that whole talk with Abe about like, what do you see in the mirror? What do you see? No, that's not a monster. That's not Anikito. That's you, Cinderella. Who is Cinderella? And then like making Cinderella answer those questions. I don't think anyone's talking about that particular scene. I don't think anyone's talking about this like depression allegory that I was on about for like what, a full hour and a half. But I think like honestly that's what made this so fascinating about me, because honestly like the story on its own merits, in my opinion, it's a little bit mid. It's really good. So let me preface that it's really good. The concept is really good. The story beats are really good. I think the way they handled the Red Shoes betrayal was bad, because they kept hinting at it like, oh, Red Shoes might be onto something. Red Shoes might be onto something, and it was too obvious. And then it became to the point that it wasn't if Red Shoes was gonna do something, it was when. And so like I was just waiting for that moment, and so that story felt a little weak. And I do think they overcooked this whole like beauty thing. Like I do understand. My favorite scene, that's that whole Abe and that whole thing with Abe looking in the mirror. The concept of beauty is important to that scene, and then so you had to establish a theme of beauty to have that scene be as powerful as it is. However, I think they overcooked it, because like the concept of beauty was brought up too much earlier on in the story. So it was a great concept that I think was executed not poorly, suboptimally. Like it was a 7 out of 10 execution for like a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 story, if you know what I mean, which like ultimately adds up to like an 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. It was still an excellent event. I just don't. It for me, it's not my favorite event, and also my favorite event might shock people. It's New Year, New Sword, not not Overzone or Red Ash, but it's still excellent. And then this depression angle, like if we're just talking about the metaphor of depression that I've been rattling on about for an hour and a half, that whole part of the story is like a 20 out of 10. It's actually so brilliant. It's so genius by the Nikke writers, and I'm flabbergasted no one's talking about that. Maybe they are and I'm just too stupid. As let me get caught up. You guys have been saying stuff and I wasn't paying attention because I was like on my rant. I only discovered it because I saw it up close while looking at the map for lobby hidden objects. I did see some stuff. Like, I do remember, like, they kept showing some of the CGs in the mirrors before, too. Like, I think they had, like Bloody Anakiro on some of the mirrors earlier on. As someone who literally didn't pick up on the Red Shoes betrayal until it was basically escalating to the big reveal, it hit so hard. It was too obvious for me. It was very, very on the nose about how much they were hinting at Red Shoes' betrayal. But like I said, if the point was to have Red Shoes, if the point was that Red Shoes, the character from the fairy tale, was supposed to be a bad person all along and you were supposed to know that, then it's okay that they foreshadowed it that much. But to me, the impact is lost when they just cooked it too hard, when they kept hinting at Red Shoes. And so, like, I would think, like, if you don't bring any attention to Red Shoes, if you don't actually bring it up until after she reveals that she invented the corruption, then that hits hella hard as a plot twist. Maybe they didn't want to get people's hopes up for Red Shoes being playable. Here's the problem. Everyone thinks she's hot. including me. Everyone thinks she's fucking hot. And so, like, people are like copium their way, and like, how could they make it make sense for her to come back in the story so she's I'll admit I'm slightly part of that crowd too. Like, I really, really like their design. It's a damn shame that they killed her off. Especially reading all the pieces slowly just clicking into place like a puzzle. That Red Shoes reveal scene is the single most betrayed I felt in the game so far. It was very good still. It was a very powerful scene still. And that's another part that I think, like, I'm different from the way other people think about it, is that I think she was lucid. I don't think she went crazy. I think she was lucid that entire time. I think she knew what she was saying. She knew what she was doing. She knew that Cinderella would be fucking pissed at her, and still said all that lucidly. Because like the way she was talking, she clearly thought she was in the right. She very clearly, like, knew this was her mission, her goal, her life's work to do this. And she knew that, like, it was win-win for her, even if she was killed, because remember what happens right afterward. Like it was probably cathartic for everyone. It was cathartic for me to see Red Hood. Jesus, I keep doing that. That's bad. It was cathartic for Red Shoes to get killed. For the audience, for Cinderella, for everyone. But then, like, everyone walks back in, sees her standing over her corpse, and it's like, oh my god, you are a monster. And like that was just another brilliant, like, piece of writing of, like, oh no, like, Red Shoes won anyways. Everyone thinks she's on a keto now. It's amazing. I just like Red Shoes' awesome pocket boots, and also, yes, she's attractive. there, someone had such a hilarious tweet of like like every VTC member is so big and important, and like emphasis on big because Rapunzel and Red Shoes are big. I wholeheartedly believe she meant everything she said. Yeah, that's my point. Like, she wasn't crazy. She wasn't like, yes, she is crazy in the fact that like she's a sociopathic, like just nut job. She's a sociopathic person who like doesn't value other people's lives. But I do think she was perfectly lucid. She wasn't saying all those things in like an insane rant and out of control. She was saying all those things completely lucidly. She was saying all those things completely clear-minded. When Bonnie was playing it, she thought the tea was what did it before the implants reveal. Yeah, that's what a lot of people said. But then, and the thing about corruption is that it's slow acting, so it couldn't have been the tea. It couldn't actually be the tea. Every time someone else gets corrupted in Nikke, it's something like it's slow acting. So like when we don't know when Marion got corrupted the first time during the tutorial, but it was way before she even went on her mission. And then she betrays you. You have to deal with the rapture and then kill her. When Matisse got corrupted, Matisse like they got stabbed with a tentacle, and then like you spent like right at the beginning of the chapter, and then you spend the whole chapter going to your objective, and then that's when the corruption activates. So like there's no way that a T would this is empty. There's no way that a T would induce corruption right away. Unless corruption worked differently, but it's unlikely. The precedent and also Red Shoes, Red Hood is corrupted. Red Hood is corrupted, but she's managed to fight it off, which it leads to other questions about corruption. Like, so we know Marion had lapses. What's the word? Moment of clarity. We know that Marion had a moment of clarity. We know Matisse had the moments of clarity. We know that Red Hood just actively can fight off her corruption, and we know that Cinderella fought off her second corruption. Like there is some sort of willpower element to it, I guess. Because Red Hood had been corrupted for like the full like several weeks that Red Ash takes place, but like she's not only always been fine, she's never like fully given into her corruption. There's a lot more we need to answer about corruption. We gained a lot of knowledge, but we're not 100% sure. Speaking of that, so as I mentioned earlier, when we were we started the stream, had a little sip, that this would be Dorothy's favorite tea, or at least a tea that's a tea that Dorothy is fond of. I actually have it in a separate jar over here. And I was thinking about using this in a cocktail somehow. I'm not 100% sure how we can do this. We can do something like the Wellerman. If you've seen How to Drink, he has a drink he called the Wellerman, and that might be a good starting point. I'm not 100% sure how I want to go with that though. Cinderella is like the only shown case of someone breaking free of corruption purely through the resolve of will and mind. I mean, you see Red Hood do that a lot too. And then again, you see Marion have a moment of clarity. Like also Pine. I totally forgot about Pine. Pine got corrupted, and she had a moment of clarity when and talking to Dorothy, and then like asking her to free her. Red Shoes Cocktail, yeah. I don't know why I went in this direction, but I just had a great idea. Who? Play Overzone, please. Play Overzone, for the love of God. Overzone is probably the most important lore event. Okay, so what was it? Oh yeah, so I wanted to make a cocktail with this tea. I know we could just do something like a gin sour. That's probably a little boring, but that's a good way to do this. We'll just make like gin, lemon juice, simple syrup, maybe an egg white. But I wanted a red tinge to it, and I actually just remembered. Well, I mean, I thought about this before, but like now I remembered why I did want to do with this. If I wanted to make a red shoes cocktail, I should probably use a red spirit like Campari or Aperol. Now these are roughly the same kind of drink. These are largely the same drink. One is a lot more bitter than the other. Whatchamacallit? Aperol is a lot sweeter than Campari. Let me just. Oh yeah, that's really bitter, but it's sweet and it's pretty pleasant. I do like Aperol. Campari is used in a lot of things. I can barely get used to it. It's really, really strong. It's weird. It smells sweeter. Ooh, oh god, that's super duper bitter. So what these spirits taste like is orange peels. This feels like orange peels with like it's like a sweet. It's like a sweet orange peel, old like soda type thing, and this is just straight up like bitter orange peels. And this flavor profile is actually very useful in a lot of cocktails. If I need to use them, I tend to use Aperol because it's more mild, and therefore like I can actually get used to it more. But then, and I feel like for red shoes, we need to use Campari. So what can I make with Campari? I'll keep the Aperol around just in case, but I'm wondering how I would go about making a cocktail with Campari. Could I make like some kind of like Campari spritz with the tea as a way? How would I approach this? Let's see. Mostly what I'm doing right now is I'm just googling like Campari cocktails. Americano, Campari. So it definitely has to involve this tea somehow. I think I do want it to be Campari to like represent the red. And then, how else would I approach it so that it's in a way that would make it still like red shoes? It was ideal because I already had a great name for it. I was thinking something like the trader's treat, or like the trader's tea, the trader's treat, or like something along that line. It's great. Guess I'll just wait for my brain to forget that one. Just proceed with the story. It's I promise you, it's very good. I promise you, it's very, very good. So, like, even with that in mind, there's so much more to the story. Campari sweet vermouth, lengthened with soda water. Gin, Campari, sweet vermouth. Gin, bourbon. Okay. Blanco tequila, maraschino liqueur. Actually, I wonder. So what if I do something like... Actually, hold on. What if I did this in a last word way? So what was the last word formula again? The last word formula... She's got red and black. So too bad you couldn't use a pair of black olives or something. Also, I just don't like olives, to be quite honest. I'm very picky about olives. I never liked olives as a kid, and it's one of those things where it's like I thought I would get used to it when I got older, and it's like, nope, still hate olives. Maybe it's well, so that conversation happens both before she gets corrupted, and it's just a nice pick-me-up, but then it turns out she gets corrupted the day after. And then there's also the conversation where she explains all of her symptoms, and then she reveals that she was the traitor. How would I represent that in a drink with these two things? Something bitter, something sweet. So maybe this would be the herbal element. So it would be like sweet, sour, herbal, and spirit. Okay. I think I have an idea. I think it would just be like a weird last word variant with Campari as the herbal element, and then like normal tea stuff like honey and lemon. So that would be infused into that. And then like, what would be the base spirit? Maybe vodka? Sweet with a berry aftertaste? Yeah. Maybe we can take it in that direction. So maybe like... I've known other people who hate olives, so I won't worry too much. Maybe it's a palate thing. Maybe. Like, I realize cilantro isn't the only one with, like, the generic reason why people hate it. Like, some people just think cilantro tastes like soap. Apparently, that applies to mint as well. If you don't like mint, and, like, you're one of those people who says, oh, it's like brushing your teeth, it's so nasty, you might have something that makes it inedible to you. Which is fine. I thought those people were crazy, but then since learning about that, I'm like, okay, I kind of get it now. sweet with a bitter aftertaste. That could work, yeah. So I'm thinking like, I'm either thinking like simple. I really want to do it with honey, so maybe like honey, lemon, Campari, and then something gin, I guess. Yeah, let's just do it with gin. Let's try that. Now, since we're not going to be able to steep this in hot water, I'm thinking we're probably going to need to do a pretty big scoop of our goldenrod tea. So a nice big scoop of goldenrod tea leaves. In fact, let's put a little more for good measure. Let's say like 2 good spoonfuls of tea leaves. I'll be right back to get the honey. One thing you should know about honey is that you shouldn't actually use all of the. You shouldn't actually try to pour your honey. You should actually try to water it down. So what I would do if I were smart is that I would take some of this honey, put it in a bottle, and then mix it with half water. So it'll be half honey, half water, and all that does is dilute the honey enough to be pourable. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna pour half an ounce of water into this, and then half an ounce of honey, and hopefully it pours. Oh shit. Okay, I was not paying attention. Don't mind me, that's me like literally sipping from my pour. Okay. Let's see if oh god, I'm so clumsy today. So half an ounce of impromptu honey syrup, which is just half honey, half water. Hopefully this is diluted enough. That does not look like it's diluted at all. Let's see if I can't like scoop it a little more. Hopefully we get the rest of this pour. I'm so bad at I'm such a bad streamer, guys. Why do you watch me? Delicious. Oh gosh, okay. One ounce of Campari. One ounce of lemon juice, so I need to slice a lemon. Give me just one moment while I get that. 1 ounce of lemon, also known as just the way I measure it, which is to say I don't, is just 1 lemon. There we go. Ooh, okay, actually, yeah, let's actually go with my, I'm gonna say a floral gin, like a Cory. I was gonna grab a London Dry gin, but I think a Cory would do better because this is very floral. It's cherry blossom gin, so it's very floral. Lots of gins are pretty floral, but then like London Dries are like tend to be kind of bitter and like flavored in different ways, whereas like I really like these like more floral type of gins. And especially with what we're going for with this cocktail, I think that's what we want, given that like Dorothy's favorite tea was very floral. She kept describing it that way. Okay. And then just give that a quick shake. Hopefully the tea is steeped. Ooh. Would this benefit from an egg white? Let me think on that. So we have the would this benefit from an egg white? I don't think it would. No. So I'm not gonna give it an egg white. Give this a good shake. Okay. I'm not sure if about where the wash line is gonna go with this particular cup, but it felt right to me, given that that's like she gave it, all it was in the story was tea. So I'm guessing in like this one felt most like a teacup to me. So let's see how the wash line is with this. Now, I'm going to have to double strain this because there's going to be tea leaves in this, and we don't necessarily want that. Oh, look at that color, though. I think a float of soda water wouldn't be, like, maybe a flow of soda water or tonic water would not be unwarranted here. The trader's tea. What was the line again? Actually, we can look it up.
うん。眠れな。はい、どうぞ。
Here, drink this.
これはお茶です。ドロシーのお気に入りというブランドは頑張って手に入れました。
I was able to get my hands on the tea that Dorothy was so fond of. Here, drink this. I was able to get my hands on the tea that Dorothy was so fond of. Ooh. Oh, that is good. Oh, whoa. Oh my god, that's really good. Wow. I'm about to get corrupted. My eyes are gonna turn red. I'm probably gonna go and kill all my friends and all of humanity and everything because this is a lovely drink. Oh my goodness. Yeah, some of the tea leaves still got through. I probably would want to filter this a little bit better, but it's not unpleasant. And like, if anything, it adds to the flavor. But holy moly, this is good. I mean, they're already red. It might be too late. You're so right. Maybe I've been corrupted this whole time and I've been fighting it off. Maybe I'm on the verge. The next mission I go on, I would end up trapped in the mirror as I watch my body do horrible things. This genuinely is wonderful. I think actually I might have accidentally made a weird what's that called again? The bee's knees. I think I accidentally made a bee's knees is what this is. which is already a cocktail that exists, but it's really good. That one's really good too. It's still slightly different because of the Campari, like the bitterness of the Campari. And note, this thing is extremely bitter. Like I normally can't drink it bitter. Like I just am not used to Campari. This actually neutralizes the Campari pretty well. And so like you just get like the bitter orange peels, but it's not overpowering, and it's really good. Like it's balanced out by the lemon and the honey. And then it helps accentuate the gin. Oh my lord. Oh my goodness, that's really good. Look, there's a lot that Red Shoes needs to answer for, but she has good taste in tea, and and if she were a mixologist, I think she would have a good taste in drinks. I drink a lot of iced tea at home, and I end up with tea grinds in it more often than I should. Yeah, I figured it was inevitable. Like, it's only the smallest pieces. Like this is not particularly ground up. Like it's very loose leaf. It kind of looked like dirt coming out of the package, not gonna lie. But then it's like mostly leaves and whatnot. Leaves, some stems and such. Like it's gritty, but it's not actually that like ground up. So like most of it was held back through the strainer, but like all the smallest possible pieces still fell through, which is fine. Like it doesn't bother me. It's just that I can see them, and so it was like it's more me commenting that was an imperfect strain. Oh god, that is more lovely than it deserves to be because it's Red Shoes strain. Admittedly, like, so I've been obsessed with the concept of like that whole depression idea I was talking about earlier with the whole Cinderella thing. I've also been pretty obsessed with Red Shoes myself, just because it's like, oh man, like half of it is like, wow, they just wasted such a good character design. Like I'll admit my biases. I have such a weakness for Onesan type characters. Like I always love the Onesan type characters, and so I know for a fact that like I'm just plain and simply smitten by Red Shoes. But also like I do honestly think that like she was a good villain. Like that's what frustrates me so much about the way her story was told, was that like all that like needless, like super obvious foreshadowing like ruined what would have been like a hyper intense and betrayal story. So like I like that she had reasons for what she did. I like that she very much thought that she was in the right for doing what she did. Like she was a unique hero in that way. I mean, I hate it. Obviously, I'm disgusted with her acts, but I'm very fascinated by the way she took the story as a villain, the way she manipulated Cinderella, the way she was responsible for all the corruption, the way like everything happened, just the way that she was involved in the story made it so enthralling. And even during her death, she still affected the story in multiple ways, and it's just very shocking. Or if she didn't look legit, her betrayal would have been even more obvious. Yeah, that too. Just like the fact that she was a researcher and whatnot, and then all that other stuff, like with her design and whatnot. I really want to know the story of how like that rapture spiral even began. Right, there's still so many unanswered questions, and like that was the thing with like Red Ash too. Was like Red Ash was such a huge lore event, but then they created more questions than they answered, and that was actually they created more questions than they answered, and then that's what made this whole prologue arc so intriguing. Like Overzone, like as important as it was a one-off story. Red Ash is super important because it just sets up the entire like prologue chapter. So like we can do prologue chapters or springing out from Red Ash for like the end of time, like the way Metal Gear Solid 3 like set up the entire big boss arc, and like we can do several games and huge storylines for Big Boss that way. Like we can now do that for Nikke. It's like, okay, we have the main storyline that's already out here in the far future, but then like with Red Ash, that opens the door to like this whole prologue chapter to lead up to where we are now, like way the hell in the future. Like, and now we can tell this story from the beginning, like why everything is the way it is, and explain the origins of everything. I think that you create more questions both as intrigue and so they can keep building on it for future events. I mean, obviously, but then also like it's actually cool is the thing. It's not bait, you know. It's not like, oh yeah, they're doing this so that they can keep making more movies for like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. No, it's like it does feel like they have a long-term plan in terms of like actually building up this story, this prologue story. But then it's also like it's cool that they're doing that they're like building up the prologue story in addition to the main story that's way out in the future already. I wonder what flavor journey Cinderella would go on that drink. Oh yeah, I should probably actually go through that. So let me like actually try to note this drink. Yeah, it leads really hard with like both the citruses. So you get the lemon and the bitter orange. And like I think it's the gin here that's like the floor of it. So like you're walking on the floral notes of the gin, the like spring breeze sort of like spring breeze, cherry blossoms, like the juniper, like the like all the subtle like berry and floral notes of the gin. You're walking on that as you drink this with like a nice big, you're like taking big massive stomps with the bitter orange of the Campari with the lemon, and then just like it's smoothed out, like you feel like your steps are softened by the honey that like softens your footsteps on every note, as like you get the bitter of the Campari, you get like the fruitiness of the Campari, you get both the sourness and the sweetness from the lemon as you're just like slowly walking. You're like taking heavy steps, but it's like softened both by the gin and the honey. That's like the gin is on the floor. It's like you're just stepping on nice grass in a cherry blossom field with all the other berries that are associated with it and other like herbs. And then you also get, it's like you get like a weird warmth, I would say, with the honey as you're eating it, because like every time you take a step, it's like you're being enveloped by the honey. So it's like instead of a cool breeze, it's sort of like a warming sensation with the honey as you take each step in the evolution. Like, it's hard for me to describe each step. It's a very complicated drink in terms of like the gin has like a ton of different flavors. The Campari has a ton of different flavors, but I know the main things that are in those. So like I can clearly describe those. I can't clearly describe the other notes other than like I experience drinks in general, like I'm walking down something and it feels like I'm passing by an orange field and I'm taking heavy steps with the lemon and the sweetness of the honey and the gin and like that, you know, like I'm walking through it feels like I walk through a garden every time that's the way I think about drinks when I'm trying to note them. Cinderella should probably be clear blue tinted because glass. Yeah, I can probably do something with Cinderella with like Empress gin for sure. Either Empress gin or like just like you say, regular gin. It can be a clear drink. I honestly think I could do it multiple ways. Like I could do another like Campari based cocktail that like shows her corrupted form. Or like do an all clear version, a completely clarified drink that would be like her now version, the one free from corruption, or like one pre-corruption where she's like the beautiful princess that she used to be. Like I could totally do something like that. I never really got around to it because I couldn't really think of a good way to do it. Actually, no, the way I would do the corrupted version is I would put a single two maraschino cherries in it, and then let the juices of this, because it's like they're cherries in a okay, my wrists are really weak from working out. They're cherries in like a really thick red syrup, right? If I put these in a cocktail, it won't turn the drink red, but it will give them like a very clear red tinge to it. That would be perfect for like corruption, right? Like I could totally do that with Cinderella. I can give it a few maraschino cherries to like indicate corruption. So yeah, like a bluish drink. Or a completely clear drink with maraschino cherries that taint it with a little bit of red. It won't paint the drink red the way like blue curacao would. It would just taint it red a little bit. A little bit. It will turn a little bit of it red, like as though it was corrupted. That's a good idea, actually. I'll have to brainstorm more of that. I don't want to like do it on the spot here because I'm not 100% sure how I want to approach that. But I definitely wanted to make this because I knew right away that I was like, what if I made a goldenrod tea flavored thing? That's where the part I was missing. Where do I get the tea out of all this? Oh, somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle. So it's like orange and lemon, gin, honey, unidentified floral note, which I think is the tea. I think I need to put more tea in this. Is the issue. I think I needed to put more tea in this, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like I think yeah, I would have to put more tea in this to make it stand out more. I think it would be good. I think it would accentuate it. Though it would taste weird. It would taste a little weird, but in a good way. But I do think we have a pretty good drink in the red shoes cocktail. Ugh, man. For a trader, red shoes, like, you have good taste. Did they play with Cinderella having a pumpkin coach arrow, or is that only in the Disney one? Was that in the original Grimm story? I remember I did hear that the Grimm story, like the actual fairy tale of Cinderella, not like the Disney type stuff, was actually really dark. Like the evil stepsisters and the stepmother were like legit like shaving their feet, like mutilating their own feet to try to fit in the glass slippers, for instance. There wasn't really any allegory to like any Disney type stuff, like a fairy godmother, unless you wanna call Abe that, because like Abe is basically your mother, and then like I think she even refers to her of that, like, you are my creation, you are my daughter, stuff like that. So maybe Abe could be the fairy godmother. There's not really any mention of a pumpkin. Like that I will say, like that was another thing that kind of bothered me. Why was Cinderella's story like so based on mirrors? I thought that was a Snow White thing, because you saw that one part when she was being corrupted and she's looking in the mirror and it's like, who is that? Who are you? Who am I? Stuff like that. Like, and then she started saying, mirror, mirror, who am I? Mirror, mirror, what am I? Mirror, mirror, who are you? And like I could have sworn that the whole mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all, I thought that was Snow White. And like I've had it confirmed multiple times. People told me multiple times when I asked that question, yeah, that's Snow White. When I haven't looked it up myself, but like I was pretty sure that was Snow White too. So I was like, I'm not sure why there's such a mirror theme with Nikke Cinderella. Yeah, the sisters cut their own feet or stretched them somehow in the original. Yeah, that's more. I know the Grimm fairy tales are actually like really fucked up. Like they're actually the Grimm fairy tales are actually like really dark. Actually, like, don't Hansel and Gretel like get eaten by the witch or something? I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, the actual Grimm fairy tales are pretty messed up. And then they're very much lightened up by the Disney retellings. Which, I mean, I don't mind. Like, I feel like that's a more palatable way to serve those to children. As opposed to like, oh yeah, you're gonna die if you do these things in the fairy tales. And it's like, feels like a weird way to teach lessons. As opposed to like easing them into the realities of life with like more less intense stories and more happy endings, you know. Yeah, if I were to do a Cinderella cocktail, how would I do? I wonder. I no. Oh, absinthe is green. I was thinking absinthe was clear enough that I could probably like work with absinthe as a way, but no, that would make it clean. It would have to be a stir drink, is the ironic thing, because it's like the thing about shakers is that it's when you shake, when you're like that's don't take that out of context. But you know what? When you shake, what you're doing is you're incorporating air into it, and like you need to aerate it for like, I forget why, but the juice, like when you put fruit juices in there, they need to be aerated to properly mix. And then also just in general, that aeration creates more dilution, creates more like it does. It's hard to explain, but it does something to the cocktail that makes it better to do so. But then because you're adding air to it, that means there's a lot of tiny bubbles inside of the drink, and therefore it's cloudy. And that might be good, actually. Like maybe that can be like the post-corruption thing with the colorless thing. Like we can make a cloudy drink inside of our glass, and that represents her overcoming her depression, but now the mirror world is colorless as something was left behind. Whereas like pre-corruption, it would be a completely clear thing, which would mean that if the reason you would stir instead of shake is if there's no fruit juices. So if it was just if sorry about that, if it was just say like curacao, sweet vermouth, and gin, like because that's all spirits, you can just stir that so that you minimize like all that air, and then so you don't have to add any air to it to mix it up properly. So you just stir that with ice. You want to stir it with ice because you still want some of that dilution, and then you strain out the ice as you pour into your drink, and then the drink would be perfectly clear. That's why it's weird that James Bond wants a shaken martini, because a martini is all spirits. All you have to do is stir a martini, and then it would be good. It would be good, and it would be completely clear. Whereas like James Bond's martini would enter its glass and it would be opaque, because shaking all those ingredients introduces air bubbles. There's an undercurrent of fairy tales being moral instruction, but from the old-timey perspective of don't do this or you'll die. Very true, very true. Just because it's like, man, it's messed again, like Hansel and Gretel, weren't they children? Like they were children, they were playing in the forest, and like the witch goes and eats them, I guess. They like I don't actually know the story of Hansel and Gretel, not even like the toned down version, but it's like really not a happy story. I'm even thinking like the Goldilocks story now that I'm thinking about it. Like that was a story we were taught as a kid, and like she gets eaten by freaking bears because she got greedy. Like what was it? Like okay, she like invades a bear's cave. She eats a porridge that's too hot, a porridge that's too cool, and a porridge that's just right. But because she spent so long in there, all the bears came back, saw this human girl eating all their food, and just ate her. And it's like the moral of the story was just like, don't be picking through people's stuff or something. And before they make a Goldilocks character in Nikke, given that they're doing so much stuff with fairy tales to begin with. I remember Food Theory did an episode on that, actually, the whole James Bond martini thing. There's a lot of like in general, like in the mixology sphere, all the like bartenders and mixologists doing food theories, they always talking about, yeah, the martini is supposed to be stirred. I don't know why he would ask for it to shaken, but the customer's always right. So Like obviously if the customer wants it shaken, you should shake it for them. The customer's always right in terms of taste. That's the full quote. The customer isn't always right just in everything. It's in terms of taste. Like if they prefer it one way, they're right because that's what they're ordering. In Hansel and Gretel, their stepmother leaves them to die in the woods while their father is away so the adults won't run out of food. What the fuck? What? What? That's insane. What the hell? That's so dark. Oh my goodness. That's the story? Like it wasn't that like they were some kids like wandering in the woods. They were left in the woods. I like the theory that Bond just has shit taste. I won't deny it. Like he's an agent, or I think I forget which other theory there was, but I forget the theory. Apparently, they concluded it was because it was the only thing keeping him alive from alcohol poisoning with how many martinis he drinks or something. The extra air would dilute the drink and stuff overall. I don't think that's how that works. Because the thing is, like, not everyone shakes the same. Not everyone's ice is the same. Not everyone's like proportions are the same necessarily. Like they might not be working on ounces. They're just like, oh yeah, one part this, one part that, and like not really measuring it. I don't think that's how it would work. I haven't tested like the amount of dilution that mine is, but it's sort of like the difference in dilution would be very, very minimal for sure. Again, not exactly sure if that's how it works, but that's my impression of it. Yeah, I don't think I like that theory that the amount of dilution you get from shaking versus stirring, I don't think matters that much. Ugh. Well, I spent my wad. You know what? Let's now that we finished our drink, maybe we could play a little more Nikke in the meantime. At the very least, to do my dailies. Wait, wrong. What the heck? Okay. Uh. Well, okay. Now I have all sorts of shit in the way because of all my mixing stuff. Okay. Give me a sec to just wipe down my thing, and maybe I'll finish my Nikke dailies, and then we'll probably call it a stream. But if there's anything y'all want to talk about too, that it'd be fun to keep talking. I'm
よく
unsure.
眠れるらしいですよ。
Oh, I probably should have actually looked at that. Hold up.
眠れない。はい。これはお茶です。よく眠れるらしいですよ。
Apparently, it helps with sleeping. Okay, I probably should have thought of that when I was thinking about this cocktail, but we'll continue to brainstorm it. We'll continue to brainstorm it.
飲んでください。ありがとう。少しお話ししませんか？
Okay, something that helps you. Well, I guess that would just be the tea, but if there was something that helped you sleep, maybe that's a way for. Oh, actually, so probably a hot toddy variant might have worked. Anyways, there's a famous British author who hates James Bond, the guy who wrote Watchmen. I forget the exact details of why. I know some of the details of the original novels are hella racist though. Like, I can't say that on YouTube. Oh lord. Yeah, there's a lot wrong with old-timey works in general. I'm unsure what to talk about, and in fact, my birthday is rapidly approaching in only 7 days, and I'm terrified. So that would be like the 18th, November 18th. Happy early birthday. You didn't have plans for anything? Well, I guess, yeah. It's at the very least care and login stamp. 19th, okay. Do you normally celebrate your birthday, or is it the sort of thing where it's like, okay, now suddenly you have a lot of attention on you when you would rather be left alone or something like that? I'm not going to be able to find it on this huge screen when I don't know how to... Oh, there we go. Okay. Where are the hit lost relics here? Well, for now... 7 plus 2 is 9 if my math serves me right. For some reason, like, so I still was under the impression that was 11. So that's why I said 18. I celebrated, yeah, but I kind of just started to not wanting to do anything big for it. That's how I feel. I don't like doing anything big for my birthdays, but like, I also feel like I kind of should. So it's tough because it's like, I don't really want to do anything spectacular, but like I do feel like it's worth celebrating. So it's tough. I'm not 100% sure how I'd approach it.
美しい物語だったわ。
You also found out there's an extra thing of dialogue after she vanished. Yeah, I did notice that. Like, you can still interact with the Red Shoes platform even when she's no longer there, and it's like basically a really cold, like you will not be missed or something like that. Oh, there's one. I'll be of legal drinking age here tomorrow. Ooh. I mean, you don't have to force yourself to drink. I always say that of people, is like, it's okay to not to drink. I also I mostly push back on this whole idea that it's like, oh, people only drink to get drunk. Alcohol is nasty. I don't know why they drink it other than to get drunk. It's like, alcohol tastes pretty good, honestly. It actually really does taste pretty good. I just don't. It's okay for you not to like it, but don't deny what it's actually good at. Yeah, I really just don't wanna. It's just something to note. Yeah. But yeah, it's if you don't want to drink because of all the health hazards, that's perfectly 100% reasonable. If you don't want to drink, like, any reason you don't want to drink is valid. I just don't like the concept of like, oh, people only drink to get drunk, like, and that all alcohol is nasty. Like, no, like, I got into it so much as someone who hated drinking for a while too, because like all I heard was like it does nasty things to you. Was like, oh, once I tried an old fashioned, my mind was blown. Once I tried all this other stuff, my mind was blown. Corruption Report 6, unofficial. I've tinkered with the personality countless times and subjected numerous test subjects to various environmental conditions. But I have yet to have any real breakthrough. After the corruption lifted on test 251, she cried and shouted incessantly before attempting to flee. I had to dispose of her. However, watching her flee brought me a sudden realization. The rapture had found a way to touch the nymph without any encouragement on my part. If I just give them a little push, a great leap forward is inevitable. I captured 10 raptures, implanted the corruption with my personality data, and released them. Ooh. Okay, so that's where she got the 10 raptures. Because I remember, like, when Oswald came, he mentioned that there were 10 raptures, and, like, hundreds of dead Nikke. Interesting. Okay. And then I'll do the mini game on my own time. Like I said, it's way too hard to play on laptop. And then let's just finish up the rest of my dailies. There's the slightest amount of curiosity in there about it. I would try like flavored drinks, like a flavored beer or a flavored soju. If you're really interested, those are really accessible. Or something like a pina colada, which really, really hides the alcohol. Or even like a screwdriver, which is orange juice and vodka, and you barely taste the vodka because vodka is nearly flavorless anyways. I don't drink, but not for any real reason. My parents drink, but not a ton. I'm hypoglycemic though, so if I eat on an empty stomach, it'll just come up. Ooh. Ooh. Do you mean drink on an empty stomach, or? I've had virgin pina coladas, but yeah, a pina colada is a pretty easy one to make a virgin version of. I like the virgin strawberry daiquiris back in the day. Like, those are really good too. I do think the rum adds a little something, if nothing else. Like it's giggle juice. It'll make you tipsy pretty fast. But there's so much other stuff in there between the pineapple, between the like coconut, between like everything else, that it's really hard to actually taste the rum. It just tastes like a smoothie, frankly. Or drink. Okay, yeah. When like I try not to drink on an empty stomach just because like it gets me pretty drunk really fast. But also like, yeah, I can imagine like for some people drinking on an empty stomach is real bad. Clara said she doesn't drink much anymore because she used to drink whatever was put in front of her, including an entire bottle of wine at a wedding. Holy shit. She said she had episodes of not waking up and not knowing how she got places, so no mas. Yeah. Like I said, like there's so many horror stories about like drunkenness that like I completely understand people who like just never want to touch alcohol. I get that. I 100% get that. It's mostly just this. The only thing I push back on is the idea that alcohol is only a vehicle for getting drunk. I think I've only started completing my dailies in Nikke recently and started to do things I was too lazy to in the past. That's good. There's a lot to do. I do think the process of doing dailies takes too long in Nikke, but I'm willing to do it just because I do like this game. this UI on this version of the UI is just so much more complicated for me. Unlike when I was at the VTC, it feels like only unexpected things happen here. Certainly never a dull moment. Indeed. Quietude and solace are well and good, but I believe I've adjusted to this more jocular atmosphere. You'd like this Rapunzel story. Her advice story, where the advice gallery? Yeah, here it is. This story is all about the corruption. So there's apparently more lore on corruption in here. Because she's seen it from the outside looking in, not realizing that Red Shoes is involved. So like you get to see the corruption happening in real time without really knowing what's going on. That's her story here is a very nice is lower down. Oh, here we go. Like ever since the start of the game, I literally hadn't touched the tribe tower or the arena. You really don't need the arena that much, but you should do it like once just so that you can establish a rank. But then like once you hit a wall in arena, you really don't have to do it again. But Tribe Tower, you should try to climb as high as possible. I've just been exceedingly lazy on doing the Tribe Tower, to be honest. I forgot Rapunzel was the nun. Rapunzel's a hilarious character for a lot of reasons, but she's also a very, it's weird. Like she's either like complete comic relief or she's like a very important like straight man sometimes, which is weird given her personality, but it's really cool. She's a really cool character. Now I want Rapunzel Red Shoes symmetrical docking because as one's got a white top and the other's got a black top. I legit want to get some kind of Red Shoes who's a commission just because it's like she fascinates me. She fascinates me as a character so much that it's like I find I really, I don't know. I'm not sure what the right word is because obviously I hate her. I'm disgusted by her because she's a horrible person. But it's also just like as a character, as someone in a fictional universe who is very compelling. I'm just fascinated by her. I love her as a character, like from the broad view of her being a cog in the story, like a major reason why that story it goes the way it goes, while obviously like hating her as a person. So it's like really challenging to like describe my feelings towards Red Shoes, if you know what I'm saying. Especially because, and your idea actually quite works, Shibidi, because like they're both actually from the same faction. Like in the past, for Nikke, there was before they came together to become the central government, they were both part of the VTC, which I just think stands for Vatican. But they were both like priests from the VTC, and then they got recruited as Nikkes because they were high-ranking members and like trying to get like the strongest world women to like enroll or in the Nikke program to try to defend humanity. And then so like they were both in the VTC together. I would love a story where they do work together because they have interacted. Like when Red Shoes first got the idea of like, oh, she was talking directly to Rapunzel about like, oh, it's so hopeless. The raptures are taking over everything, but we have to fight. We have to defend humanity so that humanity knows that they can stand up. And so Rapunzel goes off to meet with Goddess. But then meanwhile, Red Shoes was like, wouldn't it be better if we join the raptures and create harmony that way? And then so like there is opportunity to go further back in time, in order to like explore that part of it. Like what was the relationship with like the humanity's government and the VTC. I should start prepping to shower given it's 3:30. All right, take your time, T. I saw Rapunzel briefly in the lead up to Red Shoes extinguish story scene. Yeah. And I feel like they can expand on that. I like this, to be honest. I kind of wonder if I should do more of these kind of streams where it's like maybe it's not, maybe it won't be full-on bar content. Maybe it could still be like, okay, we drink and play gacha games, and then because as you know, it's like I have just all these thoughts swimming in my head about like Nikke, about Blue Archive. Like maybe we can do some Blue Archive after all. Oh, for instance, or like other ways of like doing this. So I'm not 100% sure like how I want to approach my streams from now on. I still want to do the stuff like, oh yeah, like pure bar content, but like I know for today, like I just had to spill my guts about this whole Cinderella story, and then so that's why I did this stream, and it was kind of comforting not needing to prepare so much. So maybe we will have some more streams like this just because it's nice, but it's, I don't know. What do you guys think? Streams are streams are streams are streams are streams. I'm down. Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe it won't all be this kind of content, and I'll just see. Like I'll just do whatever inspires me to do stuff. I am inspired to do still like all the bar ideas I had, but also just like because I thought I needed to niche down a lot. Like I was worried that like it wouldn't be good to like do these kind of like half gaming streams where like I talk about gacha games and whatnot, or like other type stuff, especially because I can't game on this computer very well. I don't know. wonder if you could write off your bar stuff as a tax write-off since it's streaming content. Do I have to have been making money off it though? Like, I'm not 100% sure about, or like I wouldn't know how to do that given that like I haven't really made anything as a streamer yet. Lumen Tsukiboshi talked about in a recent stream. I can find the link. I would appreciate that actually. Like, it would help certainly. Like buying bar stuff is not cheap. As much as like I buy it for myself, like I did do a lot of shopping to make sure I could do the Valhalla thing, which I'm going to continue to do, by the way. I will continue the Valhalla thing. I'm just like I said, I was gonna take a break from it this week just because I really wanted to talk about Cinderella. Who is Lumen Tsukiboshi? It feels like I remember that name, but maybe I don't. Was she like a former? What was that corp that Nene Amano was a part of before that company went away? Was she in that one? Yeah, that's bad. Lumen is an indie. She did a song for Nikke. Ooh, which song did she do? Oh wait, was she the one who did that that one summer event song? The summer event songs are also freaking good. Oh, there it is. Diamonds. Sure, this one. Okay, this is gonna be embarrassing like that, but hopefully I can get through it. You know what? I might have to turn on auto mode for this. Left shift, and tap. Lumen singing the summer daytime theme song. Okay, yeah, I think I remember this. I do think I remember this because there was a I remember that song. That was really good. I don't think I ever watched any of her streams though. Sadly, isn't she graduated by now? Like I'm not sure, but like as I heard, she isn't streaming anymore, which is sad. But like I never got to watch any of her streams, but that song was really good. All right, we're almost there, but like honestly, I think that's enough because my phone is dying, to be honest. And so like I think that's enough for the date. I'm happy I got to talk with you guys. I'm happy like you guys like had insights on the whole Cinderella event too. Like it's really cool like it's really cool to talk about, and like hearing that even you, Chibadi, like I don't think you play Nikke, right? Like you were just watching other people play Nikke, and like just how crazy expansive this story is, and how like sad it is really amazing, honestly. And so yeah, I'm glad I got to talk with it. I'm glad that you guys could share your experiences with it as well. And so, and it was fun being able to make that drink too, and just like I could be able to chat with you guys about that. On the next stream, I'll get back to the yeah, I was just watching. Okay. I watched her a little when I was at my PC in the shop. She's still around. Okay, that's awesome then. I'll have to check her out then. Per cam. Yep. Yeah, so next week we are going to finish Karma Dream. So that will be the plan for next week. We're just go back to that. We're gonna finish that off because I really want to be able to do that. I do want to work on some other stuff as well. We'll see what happens after that, but definitely next stream for sure we're gonna be finishing off Karma Dream, and we should do this more. Like I definitely from now on, and I'm gonna make time for just like more casual streams like this, where maybe there's something I want to talk about in terms of just like, you know, a game I'm really into, an anime, some news or whatever that I really want to get into. And of course we'll try to make it about drinks anyways, because like I also like part of the reason for doing this stream too was like I really had a good idea for the red shoes drink, and I think we got there. I'm gonna improve on it a little bit, but it was fun. It was fun. So thank you. Yeah, thank you. Is there anything else? Nah. Yeah, I'm gonna head out now because I'm hungry. Yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys next week.